Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers Podcast, a podcast where we discuss our thoughts on gaming news. I am Angelus de Mortiel, again deciding to start late because reasons, and I'm joined as always by Kev the Gamer.
They're already cheating on the division, bro.
Yeah, and Major Stupidity.
What's up, everyone?
Morty, turn your mic down. You're clipping hella hard, bro.
Oh, yeah, I am. What the hell's up with that? As I adjust my mic volume here really quick, or just sit way far away like this. Now it's still clipping. Anyway, so since
trying to go for that DMX effect, you jump away from the mic and just scream into it anyway.
There we go. I'm hoping that makes it better on stream while I'm quickly adjusting it here. In any case, so while we're on that, let's go ahead and jump right into the games we played. Since of course Travis decided not to show up today.
He bet you he's spending time with a girl.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we're gonna start talking about that. And it's gonna try something tragic happened.
that would suck.
That's why I'm not gonna say anything until I actually.
He forgot to pull out.
I can complain and bitch about it when I actually figure out he's all right.
Oh no, I'm sure he's fine. I like teasing him though.
Yeah. In any case, so Kev, so have you been playing that peasant game? Was it called the Destiny? I mean Division.
The Diablo clone. It's more like Diablo than Destiny. But yeah, I've been playing that, and I played Broforce this week. Yeah, Broforce pissed me off. I got to the final boss and couldn't beat him, and I rage quit.
Good job.
But I really enjoyed it. And then I've been sick, doing finals, getting ready for the new job, start tomorrow, excited about that. And excuse me, and playing the Division this weekend when in between being sick because my son decided to bring strep home from school.
That's what children do best.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
That's okay. Have you actually got a chance to play the full released version of the Division?
Yeah. I'm like level 11 right now, which you would think would be okay. I got it on Thursday night.
Did you get to play the line simulator?
No, actually, because everybody's like rushed to hit like level 30. Because remember, consoles, everybody gets the game day one. I waited till Thursday to make sure that it was working, so I'm like way behind everyone.
Yeah. Some people are smart and actually wait for reviews. Yeah. Anyway.
I did. I waited for a lot of first impressions from my favorite YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
Made sure the game was good to go. Got it on Xbox One.
Hey, Travis is here.
Is he showing up late? All right. So if he wants to join in the call, we can go ahead and get it switched over.
All right.
Oh, good job, Travis. Good job. We're making fun of you.
Yeah, now we can safely bitch about him.
End game. Yeah, the end game of.
It's a Diablo style loot grind, basically.
Yep.
It's fun. I enjoy it, but I enjoy Diablo also. So.
Don't get me wrong. I actually don't mind Diablo at all.
We got audio running good.
Yeah, you can hear you. Thanks for being here for the sound check.
I keep telling you he was caught up with a girl.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm sure she's going to comment in the. She's gonna put something in the comments.
So I'm pretty sure he got held up wrestling alligators out of his yard. Those damn gators.
Welcome to Florida.
Probably
everyone.
one of them was slipping underneath the house, and he had to get it out of there. It was some dire situations.
Actually, I-75 was backed up, and I was gonna make it here just in time to start the podcast with no sound check, but I-75 got backed up, and there was a ton of traffic.
It was probably backed up.
All those gators.
Yeah,
there was
That's what happens when you give gators driver's license, and they drive like grandmothers. It's depressing. You'd think they would be really aggressive with a lot of road rage, but no, they drive like 20 miles an hour.
So here's the real question: Who drives slower then, the Crocs or the Roadrunners?
The old people.
Well, the old people are just speed bumps, so.
I guess.
Here in Arizona, all the old people drive slowly, but then all the Californians drive really fast.
Yeah.
And that's literally all our roadways. Old people and Californians.
That's
So who gets
actually
shot
not
first?
just Arizona. That's pretty much everywhere, and it's not Californians. It's just
People that can't
old
drive?
people and not old people.
Yeah, that's.
It's like
seen that many
everybody's favorite
Californians come to Arizona, man.
scene from Ferris Bueller is the moment where he's stuck behind the lady who can't even see over the steering wheel and has her hair like is like 10 feet tall.
Well,
But
when
yeah.
you're, I think we should. Are we past the what part are we on right now?
Dude,
If you guys
we are 10 minutes into the podcast, so of course we're on the third story. We're getting ready to do the evergreen topic and everything.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're barely through games we played, dude.
so that's games we played. Okay.
Yeah, and we're actually on Joe, so you have to wait your damn turn. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
Oh, we are? I
on
thought
time
Kev was
for
still talking.
first. Oh no,
Yeah, I
I,
heard
I,
Kev
I
talking.
said my piece. I got my ass kicked in Broforce. Played some Division. I waited to see first impressions because I'm not pre-ordering shit. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the game. That's my initial thoughts. Check out my channel. I did do a first impressions video myself on Friday. If you want to know more, cheap channel plug.
It's supposed to be at the end of the podcast. That's okay
Yeah,
though.
but
We start
they don't wait for that. You
we-
gotta do it at the beginning.
we start off the podcast, by the way, on Twitch every night. I post up the links to our channel, so it's not really like that's the case anymore. Anyway, so Joe, you haven't played Super Hot. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I plan on playing it this week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played Super Hot either, or Divinity, or Pillars, and they're all on my to-do list.
Divinity.
Well, I'll talk
is
about
the-
it more
Yeah.
next week, but I will give a quick I will say real quick the premise of Super Hot is essentially imagine being first person in like Hotline Miami, but being able to freeze time and to think out your moves, and you're basically rewarded for like taking out people the most stylish way possible.
See,
You
when
were
you describe
basically
that, you
acting
describe it
and
to me in
directing.
how
in a
different is
genre
it
of
from
Super
Transistor in that respect? When you described it in pre-show, I was thinking Transistor.
Hey,
Oh, no,
Joe.
no.
Joe. Sean is asking that you.
Yes,
you
I
say
can see him.
you need to say it.
Anyway, it
again.
was Super Hot. You're basically acting and directing the action in a John Woo movie all at the same time
That's awesome.
as you're the star.
Wow.
There's a bunch of different challenge modes about, like there's one where it's like only use a katana and you basically have to run through just like cutting up dudes. And you can do stuff like if you run out of ammunition, you can throw your gun at someone. You can go jump into the body of one of the other, because they're like, the characters are nondescript. They're like models almost. Like there's no real character given to each individual like NPC. They all kind of, they're just like, they're almost like mannequins. So you're able to jump, you can jump between them. Like I saw one scene where it was like, he shot the guy in the head, dodged his bullet, ran out of ammunition, threw his gun at one guy, possessed another one, got shot at, picked up a vase, threw it at to deflect the bullet. Because yes, you can block bullets by throwing other stuff at them or shooting bullets out of midair.
So
Like,
it seems
it's just-
legit,
It is crazy. Oh man,
but is it legit?
I don't know.
yeah,
So-
it looks pretty legit.
Yeah, that actually, like I said, there's a lot of those games coming out recently that, to me, have great premises. But before we get moving on to more commentary on that, Travis.
Yeah.
Have you just been wrestling alligators all week? Wink, wink. That's our code word for having sex.
Well,
Oh, man.
thanks. Yeah, you had to make that obvious.
Just remember to pull out, bro. Just pull out.
Anyway, have you got a chance to play any new games this week? Any Russian made,
Russian made, indie,
Russian-made
free
Halo
trade,
games?
free trade, organic, all. I've really, I recently got back on Torchlight 2, and I've been, really hitting that hard and trying to get through the game and having a lot of fun with the Berserker class.
How far are you into it?
Right now, I'm kind of like just grinding a little bit at the start.
I tried to get Joe to play it last summer. We played it for like a day, and then he said, "No, I want to play it." I think he went back to playing Dark Souls.
Yeah, he played it
Yeah,
with me
it
for
was-
a little bit. He played it with me for a little bit too.
Yeah, he
And
played with me for like 45 minutes. He said,
I think
"Oh,
we
it's a
all
great co-op game. Let's play it." And then we're
we
back
all
to
just
Dark
need to
Souls.
get together and play it.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me to when I go to start like some of these RPGs. I'm always most likely to stop playing them at the beginning because when you're first starting to level up your character, everything's a lot less interesting. Same thing with Dragon Age Origins. I have to force myself to go through like the very beginning.
Torchlight does have that problem, right?
Yeah,
Like
it does.
it's
Once you actually level
it's
up,
kind of
I can stick
repetitive.
with it.
It's kind of really repetitive at the beginning.
Right. My problem is for me, any game like the story has to grab me at least a little. Something has
Right.
to grab me. Usually,
So,
it's the story.
The thing about like Torchlight, the story, well, like I mean, it's a Diablo-esque game, right? Like
Yeah,
story is
yeah,
kind of
totally
like
Diablo.
it's it's back burner in the game. But the thing that really grabs me with Torchlight is the aesthetic and the music, right? Just playing it for me is therapeutic and just like really relaxing. Um, that's just how it is for me. I love the ambience of the game, and I can just sit and chill and click things for hours.
Travis, we gotta go play Terraria at some point.
No, you see, here's the thing: is I have this brilliant idea for a co-op game. As I was testing out my poor man Steam Link, aka a laptop hooked up to the TV in the living room, running Steam
It
Link
works.
in-home streaming.
I had my kids doing that for months before I bought the Steam Link.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Because I got a new AC router, a Nighthawk, and running. Didn't realize it until I was doing speed tests since I first moved in here and wondering why I was paying for 150 meg internet connection, and every time I do a speed test, it was like 90 down, 10 up, and I just chalked it up to it's Comcast, because
Comcast is fast to tell you can get up to.
Yeah,
it's guaranteeing that.
Yeah,
near it.
So here's the funny thing is I got this new router, hooked it up to speed test, and it's like bam, 172 meg down, and I'm like, what? Come to realize that middle grade N router that I had before did not have gigabit Ethernet, which is very bizarre to me. I don't know why it didn't. I didn't even think about it. But that mixed with obviously,
I had Cat 3 cable running through my house, wondering why I couldn't get on my speed. I had to switch out one of the cables.
No, I actually have even though it's overkill and in no way will it ever be even close to touch. I actually have a Cat 6 cable that runs from my computer to the router. Neither end of the connection can even support a Cat 6 cable, but I figured that was the one that was the right length. But in any case, one of the games that I was testing out on there to see what it works, because I was using the Steam controller, trying that whole thing out. And I decided to load up Magicka. And I forgot how much crazy fun that game is. So if we're going to do a co-op game, I'm just saying, Magicka is great for doing a channel collaborative co-op, because you inevitably end up, within the first probably 10-15 minutes of the game, just end up trolling each other. Because
Magicka seems like a ridiculously fun game.
Oh, it is incredibly fun.
Isn't that just a card game?
No, that's Magic the Gathering. Magicka is actually a kind of a top-down satirical RPG. And it's actually got an interesting system to it. So it's essentially, the way it works is you have 6 elements, I believe. So you've got 6 elements, and you can combine them in various ways to create different spells. But the great part about it is that, first of all, there's self-damage and there's friendly damage. So there's friendly fire in the whole game. So in that regard, you end up trolling your teammates and yourself very frequently. But the second part about it is the game is very satirical. So it's like the first thing that this guy says, that your teacher says, is that, my name is Vlad. I am not a vampire. And he's very obviously a vampire.
You had me at friendly fire, because now I can shoot Joe the same way we shooting Sean Stone in Halo 5.
Yes, if you actually want to see a great representation of how troll-tastic the game gets, look up Team 4 Stars, 2 Saiyans play Magicka. It's great.
Oh no, give the game to me. We know I'm King Troll.
Yeah, but it's very satirical, very a lot of meta jokes in there. The great one when you walk out and you see a dead horse and a mage standing beside the dead horse, and he makes the Star Wars reference comment of, Only goblin archers could be that accurate. But yeah, in any case, and I literally ran through several of titles ranging from Warframe, which work well. I'm just horrible using a controller for Warframe. I found out
It doesn't feel as natural.
it is
So,
too fast for a controller.
Does
for me.
Magicka like have an original and then a reboot? I'm guessing
It's got Magicka 2. I have not played Magicka 2.
Okay, Magicka 2, because I remember I don't remember playing. I haven't played either. I don't remember.
There's also a Magicka PvP game that's free to play, but I've never played that.
Yeah, Magicka 2 is the one that I was thinking of because the graphics, it looks aesthetically, it looks very, very pleasing.
Oh, Magic, the original one's pretty
your
good
laptop
too.
could run that aesthetically pleasing game.
Yeah, well, the thing is about Magicka is I got it for $2.50. So
it's not it's whenever I say aesthetically pleasing, I don't mean high graphics.
No,
I was really asking if we do run it, can your laptop run it so we can play it with you?
Yeah, the thing is that the original Magicka, not Magicka 2, but the original Magicka, your laptop likely could play it. Here's the great thing about it too.
It's $10. I'm looking at it.
You got to realize though that the actual aside from the obvious meta jokes and the satire and the trolliness of the game, there is actually a decent amount of depth to it. It's actually a paradox game. So, obviously Paradox does not shy away from depth and complexity. Which is something I appreciate to all hell about them, is the fact that they realize that you can make it fun and complex at the same time. But yeah, and I ran through, loaded up some Divinity, played a bit of Divinity, some KOTOR 2.
All today, because Morty was gaming hella hard today.
Yeah, all day. I was in my living room, had it hooked up to the TV, run through tests. I realized that Dragon Age Inquisition fucking hates the Steam controller, and you have to literally juggle and jump through 20 hoops to get it to work right, including plugging in my Xbox controller into my desktop in order for the game to even register that a controller was plugged in.
That is actually, I think, could be the downside of using anything wireless with Steam like that. Even my Steam Link.
No, I'm talking even plugged in.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I think that's going to be.
No, I'm saying even with the controller, the Steam controller plugged directly into my desktop, me loading up the game from my desktop, it will not fucking detect it unless you jump through 20 hoops.
Yeah,
it's because it's Steam controller.
Steam related.
Yeah, that's a Origin trying to stomp out competition.
This is why all games need to be on Steam.
Well, it's not even Origin trying to stomp out competition. It's
they don't really have competition with Steam.
Yeah, right? They're not even in the same realm.
This is the same reason they didn't have controller support in the PC version of Mass Effect 3, Dragon Age 2, several different BioWare games. It's BioWare games, for some reason, they're just
I think Dragon Age was the first one.
Yeah, Inquisition's the first game where they were all right, we'll give you controller support.
No, the thing is, so here, and I'll break it down also for Sean Stone there. So it's not a firmware issue. If you do not have Steam running, it will actually auto-detect as an X input device, which is essentially the same way that an Xbox 360 controller is. However, because it actually has a customizability and it can run either, I think it's direct input or X input, something like that. It doesn't. It any Origin games don't want to detect it quite right. I should say Origin games that have a specific controller mapping feature to it, because it conflicts with the way it receives mapping input from Steam. So it kind of conflicts with itself. But in any case, though, the other thing about it that's essentially how you have to get it to work is you have to map Origin as a shortcut in Steam. Then you have to map Dragon Age Inquisition as a shortcut into Steam. Make sure they're both closed. Launch your plug in your Xbox controller to the PC. Launch Steam. Then launch Dragon Age directly from Steam. And then once it detects the Xbox controller, it will run fine. And I'm
Basically,
like,
what you're saying
really?
is proprietary hardware sucks.
It's
That's what it got at all this.
yeah. It's essentially Origin and Inquisition being retarded. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
way.
Like it's not the hardware as much as it is the company. The
Yeah,
company's
because I
creating
can
this
play.
onerous software.
Yeah, I can load up Dragon Age Origins and play that if I really wanted to with a controller, and it works.
Right. Well, like
I'm a hacker.
I just
No,
like
I'm not.
I've been politically correct. Modder.
I am
like-
not. I'm not a hacker. Hold on, let me close Cheat Engine real quick.
That's still modding. We are modders.
I feel like we keep coming back to this topic of like Origin and Origin and Uplay and stuff, and we've gone. Me and Joe have talked about this in length, and he says Origin isn't that bad, and I agree. But at the same time, you have to
Uplay
think
is the
like,
devil.
what's the point, right? Like, I understand like the point is EA trying to take market share and make more money, but
It's the same reason we don't have one store that sells everything.
Yeah.
I know that,
yeah,
and that
I
could be
understand.
Steam, but Uplay, Ubisoft, and EA want all the money.
No, let's be
Correct.
honest. I'll be straight up in saying that I am thankful that it's actually not all on Steam.
Well, what I
Because
actually,
Steam is just like EA and Ubisoft. They would ass rape you if they had the monopoly.
Well, I
and you
mean,
guys
it's
should
Right.
know that.
What I'm getting at is I wish everyone had everything.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I wish I could get these games on
It
Steam.
is annoying that you can't.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it's
is
Like,
annoying that
you
you
can
can't.
actually get most games on Origin and Uplay.
Yeah.
Well, it does, but most of the time you can. There are only a few games you really can.
Yeah, my thing is that obviously there was the whole thing that's been going up recently. We're not really going to talk about a whole lot tonight because we kind of hashed it for the past 2 weeks in some flavor or another. But the Windows Unified Windows platform that they're having and all that stuff.
I
Yeah,
don't have a beef with that as long as they don't block me off and give me access to whatever game I want.
Yeah.
And then I can play wherever the hell I want to.
well, my thing
all
is that I saw so much like immediate tinfoil nerd rage the moment that, oh my god, they're selling games on Windows 10. Nope, monopoly, antitrust laws. I'm like, first of all, let me break something down for you here. So you pick up your Android phone or your iPhone, right? There's a proprietary store on there that's locked down that you can only deliver content through those stores.
Oh,
There is no alternative.
Let's back it up a step further. You go on a PlayStation 4 and it does that. And
Yeah,
nobody
or
plays
an
it.
Xbox One. And people accept those, despite that being a kind of a monopoly on distribution, right?
I think it has a monopoly on distribution.
Yeah, like, so you've got that. But even taking another step on there, to make it even more back-asswards is Windows inherently already has competition. In fact, the Windows Store is in the minority. It's the one struggling and clawing to even be noticed. Because obviously you have Steam, you have Origin.
Uplay.
Huh?
Nobody struggles when it comes to being against Uplay.
Well, I mean, there's still
Uplay is
options.
trash.
Uplay is at least established. People probably own stuff on Uplay, just like GOG and everything else. Like, there's all these other distribution platforms.
People
I mean,
would rather
hell,
pirate it to use Uplay.
yeah. Even if you want to get into the morally gray areas of the gray market sites like G2A and Kingwin, which no one should really buy. Don't be like Kev. You're stealing from people.
I don't see it as stealing at all. I bought it from a retailer. It just happens to maybe not be in America.
Yeah. You should search up the truth behind Kingwin and G2A.
I have.
Yeah, you're not always getting shit that's legit at all. But in any case, so
Then again, I mean, a lot of the stuff that people buy from China is, massively copyright infringed, etc.
Oh, yeah.
etc.
absolutely.
So
But
like this isn't.
but my point is
that's kind of where I come from. It's like it's just using import. Like
my point is on all of it though is that there is that competition present. So it's not like Windows 10 has blocked out all of our other applications except for its store Which, here's the funny thing about it. The reason why no one bats an eye at the Android or the Google Play Store or the Apple Store or Xbox the Xbox One's market, the PS Store, why no one bats an eye at those is because anybody who develops a game for Xbox or PlayStation 4 can sell their stuff through the PS Store. Anybody who develops an Android app can sell their app through, the Play Store and also for the Apple Store. They're all inclusive. It's not like you can only get Apple apps on the Apple Store or Google apps on the Play Store. That's the way they get away with it. Is they're very inclusive of anybody wanting to develop it. So you've got competition, even though the actual keys to the gateway of competition are controlled by one company. Still seems like antitrust to me, but no matter which way you try to bend the argument, Microsoft really isn't doing anything that shady. They're just following the market trend.
Right. Well,
as long as they make the games work, I don't really care.
The problem with trust, with trust issues is, the fact that is whenever it hurts the consumer, right? That's the reason why we're against it, is because it can potentially, and a lot of the time is damaging to the consumer. But if the existence of this helps the consumer in way of being easy to use, right? If it's easy to use, and it's simple and it's all in one place. As long as it's not taken advantage of too much in other areas, it's kind of like, I understand, right? Like,
right.
You wouldn't be upset about it. That's why I don't mind. It's why I wouldn't mind being able to get everything on Steam, and I would just use Steam because I value that
client.
Yeah, I value having the client, and I value the ease of use and having everything in one place, just having it there and being able to access it and have it all nice and organized.
And I think that's where most people are. That's where I am. That's why one of the reasons I prefer Steam. And I also like the fact that, what? If Steam pisses me off and I can go get everything on Uplay, like I was just looking at Origin. I was just looking at Origin. You can go get the Division right now on Origin. That's awesome.
And that's Ubisoft, right?
No, that's EA.
Oh no, that's Ubisoft. I'm saying
the Division is
Ubisoft. Yeah, and that's on the Origin store.
But it's on EA Origin, which is awesome, and I wish more developers did this.
So is the Division on Steam? The Division is on Steam too, right?
You can get it on Steam, Uplay, or Origin.
You can get it everywhere. Okay. You can get it on GOG too. It's on GOG as well, I think.
Do you still have to have Uplay open to play it?
No.
Yes, and I don't think they have it on GOG because Ubisoft thinks everyone's pirates. So the no DRM thing probably doesn't work well with Ubisoft.
Do they actually still don't they have proprietary Ubisoft that's built into the game? You don't have to have the Ubisoft or the Uplay client.
You have to have Uplay for everything Ubisoft because everything they have is always online. Even something like AC Syndicate, it's nothing but a single player game, always online.
So why are they?
It's because people like Sean Stone are pirates and cheaters.
So why are they, instead of rolling this into the game client, why are they requiring its entirely separate client? Like, that's what annoys me. Having those, and it might not be a problem for other people, but having that client open and those resources used, because
realistically, Uplay doesn't use shit. It doesn't use much of any resources.
Here's the thing. This is why. Is because it's an application redundancy.
Right.
I'm not going to get into the tech boringness of what that means, but it's essentially
Sean Stone is thanking you.
Huh?
Sean Stone is thanking you.
Yeah. But essentially it's just you have a second application so that way if you try to modify the first application, the second application checks it. And if you modify the first one, essentially it's...
I suppose, yeah.
It's not foolproof by any means, by the way.
Right, I mean, nothing is.
Yeah.
No, like I remember when Far Cry 4 came out, people had it pirated before the official version came out. So yeah, none of this shit is safe.
Yep. But yeah, so anyway, since we're at the half an hour, let's go ahead and get into our first story on here. So
Sorry.
Apparently Nightbot is all about Maybe my channel tonight. Yeah.
It's not showing up on YouTube yet.
Oh, no, that's because it's on Twitch. That's where Nightbot's at. Nightbot lives on
Yeah, but
Twitch.
usually, there it goes. Yeah, it's usually in the universal chat. I see it now. And preference is not key. PC is superior, period. You prefer console all you want.
That's so ironic. It's like preference is key. It's like, well, you get the chance to actually choose your preference on PC.
Yeah.
Console, not so much.
It's the whole. Well, I mean, it's a lockdown. Consoles, I feel like, are just more like a service, as opposed to PC is about the do-it-yourself attitude.
Yeah. But in any case, though, our first story here is about Blizzard. And an interesting little bit about Blizzard. So they released a patch updating Diablo 2, not Diablo 3, Diablo 2.
The better Diablo.
This past week. And they are releasing next week a patch to upgrade Warcraft 3. So, and obviously, Diablo 2 is 16 years old, and Warcraft 3 is 14 years old.
Yeah.
And essentially, the updates are, well, the start of them are at least to update them to make them compatible with more current software like Windows 10. I believe there's also Mac OS X updates on there for compatibility as well, so it's not just Windows based. But so essentially my question to you guys is, obviously Blizzard has the resources for this. They have a whole team dedicated to their classic game section, as they call them. So taking that out of the equation, do you guys think it's a smart move for a developer from the business standpoint to continue to develop resources to updating 14 to 16-year-old games?
Well, before we go to that, can we just give Activision a round of applause for doing something pro-consumer that is so
It's not Activision.
It's Activision Blizzard.
Blizzard does their own shit, and they give...
Blizzard.
They
I'm autonomous.
All of this is pre-Activision too. Honestly, I would not chalk this up to Activision. This is Blizzard.
Yeah,
I'm
give
trying
any
to give Activision props where I can, because the way everybody used to feel about EA is how I feel about Activision.
like I said, Blizzard does whatever they want.
Let me go into why I believe this. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard has supported Diablo 2 past its shelf life for a long time. Like this is not. I mean, yeah, it's still crazy and out there, but it's not unprecedented, right? And the thing about it is, even if Diablo 2 is not making them, tons and tons of money in terms of, direct profits and such.
This is great PR.
Updating, yeah, it's great PR. Updating the game, and they've seen this in the past, people really, really applaud whenever they have updated Diablo 2 in the past, when it's been out for 8 years or however many, whatever.
Yeah, because
doing it again, it's just positive PR. It's supporting the community. Still a relatively, compared to some other games, a relatively thriving community. And from what I understand, Warcraft 3 is still played like pretty heavily in China and Russia.
Oh yeah.
So
also StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 is a bit newer, but still.
Right. StarCraft 2 is still the current StarCraft game. That's what they used to replace.
So is Warcraft 3 though. Warcraft 3 is still their nose. Diablo 2 is kind of the one that stands out because they actually have a newer version of Diablo out, right? And they've still been patching Diablo 2. The last patch for Diablo 2 was in 2011. So a lot of people thought that was actually going to be the last one. But even still, that's like 11 years of support. That's pretty crazy for a game.
I mean, yeah.
I still want to try to find a way to applaud Activision for this, because I can't think of anything positive to say about Activision.
It's not.
I'm positive I can't do it.
Blizzard's been doing this as a PR. Blizzard's been doing this as a PR move since before they joined with Activision.
Yeah, because here's the thing. This is something I will be upfront about. Is that so? Whenever the Blizzard Activision merger happened, note I said merger. Activision didn't buy Blizzard. It was a merger. They merged. The thing is that Activision does not control Blizzard really at all. Blizzard does whatever the fuck they want because they've proven whatever the fuck they want rakes in big cash, and that's
Right.
all.
They've just combined asset powers if they need it.
Yeah, that's the thing is that so it's like a lot of people look at like say BioWare right under EA. EA bought BioWare. They own BioWare. It's no longer BioWare Corp anymore. It's now officially EA BioWare. That's the official name of the studio. The thing is that but the thing is that, you know, whenever they look at that one, is that people are like, yeah, BioWare just does whatever they want because they do so good work. And I've heard that said before. No, they don't. They still have to answer to the man upstairs.
Right. Look at the differences in BioWare.
It's very apparent. It's very apparent in their game design too.
Look at Dragon Age Inquisition and Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, they may get a little bit more leeway than smaller studios because they do have a rather big name behind them, but it's nothing like it would be. You know, it's like Blizzard is a publisher in their own sort. They have more than enough backing financially to be able to support their own titles. They're also their own developer. In a lot of ways, they're kind of similar to Ubisoft. So it'd be like Ubisoft and Activision merging. You know, like people wouldn't be like, oh, you know, that's yeah. Anyway, so
well, before Bethesda, maybe Bethesda.
Yeah, no, Bethesda would be a good example in there because they're Bethesda is both a publisher and a developer. I think
that's probably a better example than Ubisoft.
Yeah, as previously, I had some confusion that ZeniMax was the publisher and Bethesda was the developer, and then I actually realized, in someone explaining it to me at some point, that no, you actually have Bethesda. Bethesda Inc., so to speak, and then you have Bethesda Game Studios. So they're both a publisher and a developer. That doesn't get confusing at all. Welcome to corporate America.
Slightly, just a little bit.
Yeah, but so
wait, say that again.
Bethesda is both a publisher and a developer. There's two separate studios named
and they're
Bethesda.
they're also under a publisher.
Well, no, essentially, it's the ZeniMax Media Group. In other words, they are a conglomerate. They're not. ZeniMax is not actually a publisher unto itself. Bethesda is the publisher.
ZeniMax was founded by the same guys who founded Bethesda.
Essentially,
ZeniMax is basically just the.
Well,
here, hold on. I looked this up before. I'll look it up again.
Yeah, but essentially, how it works is that ZeniMax is a group of people that have bunches of money.
ZeniMax Media Incorporate is an American media company that develops and publishes video games through its subsidiaries. ZeniMax is known as the owner of ID, they are id Software, Bethesda Game Studios, Arcane Studios, who are the guys behind Dark Messiah, Might and Magic, and Dishonored, Machine Games, who are the guys who developed Wolfenstein: The New Order, Tango Gameworks, who are the guys who made Evil Within, and that's it. They're not a small company by any stretch of the imagination, but they were basically founded by the same guys who founded Bethesda.
The way you look at it is that you have, think of it like you have different teams inside ZeniMax. So if ZeniMax was one building, you have your different development studios on different floors, and then on another floor, still part of the same company and part of the same building, so to speak, you have Bethesda Publishing. It's just another division of the ZeniMax group. But Bethesda also has the game studio, which is a developer. That's where I was saying it was confusing. And CD Projekt Red, I think, aren't they technically considered an indie studio? They self-publish, but they're
large enough.
They're one of the more affluent indie studios, but they're still technically independent.
They're a very large indie studio. Yeah.
Right, it's things like CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, that's.
So, going back to the whole, Warcraft thing, something that never ceases to amaze me is just how solid these two games are. Like the framework for Diablo 2 and Warcraft 3. They're just they're so solid. I wonder how much effort is really being put into updating them just because of how solid the code base seems to be. For
Actually, they were pretty damn transparent about it. Like when I was reading the actual update notes on Blizzard's forums on there, they were pretty transparent about what they were doing. This Diablo 2 patch, they didn't really alter the game at all. It was just they updated frameworks, cleaned up, because the one guy was saying, like, you know, going back to a 16-year-old game, how they used the code 16 years ago. Most of the people that were there at that time might have moved on, or they're doing something else. They moved up the chain of command, so they're not, you know, coding the game themselves. They're running the show, so to speak. So it's kind of this strange thing of, it's like you're going back. It's like you're now becoming one of those people that are in museums restoring works of art, right? You're not a painter yourself, but you might have to touch up painting that's like 500 years old. That's kind of what it would feel like to a software engineer. I can imagine going back and touching that.
Right, it's like you're not Kobe Bryant anymore. You're on the sideline, or LeBron James is Kobe's about to retire. You're not LeBron anymore. You're on the sideline coaching LeBron. Mm-hmm. Probably a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's what those coders are. But the thing is a lot of what they were doing is updating framework coding to make it compatible with newer operating systems. Specifically, the .NET framework, I think, is probably what they were updating, because I think they were on probably .NET 1.5 back in 2000, and now it's 4.5. So, I don't know.
Now, I wonder, are they going to add support for newer resolutions? Because now, when I went back to play Warcraft 3, like we were talking about that before the show.
That hasn't been patched yet, mind you.
Are they patching the resolutions without having to go into the INI files?
Yeah, because I actually was able to run it, I believe, at 720p. I haven't tried anything higher than that.
Well, your monitor is 720p, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's obviously not really a good example. Warcraft 3's update comes out this coming week, so Warcraft 3 hasn't actually been updated yet, but it will be this week. So after this week, when it gets updated, you can try it out. But my point is, so do you guys think, like, from a business standpoint, like, I obviously don't know how much it costs for them to continue support on this. They may only have like 2 guys, you know, that are working on it in the background, the 2 newbies, you know, giving them old school coding to learn the basics.
I doubt they're spending that much money touching up these games, honestly.
Well, you can still find the war chests out there, like if you go around to different stores.
Yep.
So, I mean, they could very well still be selling copies of Diablo 2.
I was talking about this earlier. Got the
thing is, each time they do these updates, it generates interest, because it usually ends up on the news. People are like, oh, look they're updating the 16-year-old game. Let's remind everyone of the game, that it exists and that they enjoyed playing it.
And how awesome maybe they'll
go.
And how easy it is to pirate, because they really had no DRM back then. I actually, and before anybody accuses of piracy, I have legitimately bought copies of Diablo 2. These are real physical copies.
Here we go, Warcraft.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in any way saying that I pirated the game or that anybody should. I'm just pointing out that telling people that this game still exists might encourage them to go.
Are we going to show off the old stuff we own? Because I have right here the floppy disks of Doom 2.
You don't even have a floppy drive, dude.
He's bragging, but those aren't even really his. He stole those from someone else.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a floppy drive to run them.
Rise of the Triad.
He's just bragging. I made a bonfire and burned all my 3.5 floppy drives. I don't know, maybe like 20 years ago.
See, I only kept mine around for my EPS Classic. Once the EPS Classic went away, I had to get rid of the discs too.
Yeah. But in any case, so my question on there, especially now, Warcraft 3 is kind of unique because, like I said, there is no Warcraft 4, at least, for now. So Warcraft 3 being updated actually kind of makes
Warcraft
sense.
Stopped it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's StarCraft. Warcraft became StarCraft.
Yeah, not really. But in any case, though, my question on there is Diablo 2 has a successor, Diablo 3. Do you think that by continuing to support and update Diablo 2, they might lose out on some sales for Diablo 3 at all?
Yes. Only because I think Diablo 2 is a better game.
I don't know. I haven't played Diablo 3. I was like, eh.
Yeah, I think between the two, at least in my opinion, Diablo 2 is a better game. I think the characters have more variety and more depth to them.
Mm, fair enough. But yeah, okay. I think that's yeah. So Joe, do you think this is
what
all?
other
Hmm?
what are there any other like examples of companies updating games this old?
What about the
There's
Star Wars game that they did a while back? They
yeah,
upgraded it to gave it 4K resolution. Was that Knights of the Old Republic 2?
that was Knights of the Old Republic 2 got a big overhaul. I think it
And
wasn't just
that's BioWare, right?
yeah, that was BioWare. It was not just framework
That was
updates.
because
They
they
actually
actually for the Steam support of KOTOR 2.
it got handed off to a
I
third
remember
party.
it was actually a different company was
Yeah.
actually in charge of distribution, and they were the ones who updated the version that's on
The
Steam.
thing is
better
that they really didn't do most of the work themselves. Most of it was player based mods that they just rolled into an official package essentially.
Kind of like what Valve
Fixing
did
bugs.
with Half-Life 2. There was a mod out there that updated it, and they just called it Half-Life 2 Remastered.
Yep.
Nice. That's nice when they do that too, especially when they do it for free. I don't mind that it's player-made content, especially gives these modders some cred.
Yeah.
And it's better than what they do with most of the AAA space, where they're
What's
like,
nice-
"Oh, this is a remaster. We just
Yeah.
modded it to 1080p 60, and we're going to charge you $60 for it, like a new game."
Yeah, and the thing is that I guess that's for old console games, they're kind of in an awkward spot because you can't really go back and update an N64 game, right? Best you can do is put it into
Well, I
an
mean,
emulator.
Like
Well,
you
they tried
can't-
that with what was it, Turok the Dinosaur? They put it on GOG, and they up-resed it.
Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Oh man.
They put it on GOG a few like 2-3 months
Yes.
ago. It still looks like shit. It looks like an N64 game. It's just 1080p 60 frames a second.
Yep.
Hey, I mean, honestly, like having those games around is kind of it's endearing, right? Like
Hmm.
it's not for everybody, but like I can go back to those games and not have a problem.
Hey,
with
let's
it.
be honest.
It's
I can
fun.
still, to this day, go and pick up Super Mario RPG, play through that game for like the 5 millionth time I've beat it, and still enjoy the shit out of it. That game was so great.
I mean, some games are timeless. Like, I'm sure I could go back and play Resident Evil 2 and do that.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll just pick up and I'll just play like Mass Effect 2 for a little while. Like, I don't want to necessarily do a whole playthrough. I haven't done a whole playthrough in maybe 2 years.
But that
that's
suicide
the game
mission.
I love the suicide mission.
That suicide mission.
And that's because I beat Mass Effect 2 like 20-something times.
That was all the fault of Mass Effect 3. And then, like, you realize that shit, you fucked up shit in the previous games, and you have to go back and play Mass Effect 1, and then Mass Effect, and do a playthrough of ME1, do a playthrough of ME2 with that continuing save file, and then bring it up to 3. I had to play through Mass Effect, the first 2 Mass Effects, like 4 extra times because of Mass Effect 3.
Oh no, I didn't do it because I messed up. Actually, I got through the suicide mission my first try with nobody dying.
Nice. Lucky bastard. Actually, okay. Let me take that back. You could call it cheating of sorts. I kind of sort of cheated with Mass Effect 2 because I actually looked up the FAQ for it, and I already knew how to run it properly so that way no one would die and stuff.
Actually, I played it safe. Like, for example, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't played Mass Effect.
Spoiler alert.
Like, to me, it made sense. Okay, who are you going to send through the pipes? They said you need a technical expert. Send Tally. Like, that was just common sense to me.
But the major thing was
I'm gonna send Jack. Damn it.
yes, Jack.
Or who do you have lead the charge? Okay, well, we probably need somebody who's like a good general.
I'm gonna send more.
Harris was just
There's certain ways if you
Don't
don't really
worry.
care. If you don't
That's
really care,
Kira
for the
Hay,
whole-
man. That was fucking Kira Hay. Don't you dare say Gareth said hold the line.
But we didn't have Kira.
I didn't say
with us.
Garrus. I said Morton.
Oh,
I said
that's still Kira Hay.
Garrus.
I know it was. Morton's a Solarian, so I was like, he'll hold the line anyway.
Fucking racist.
I'm just
You
joking.
hear him?
Never
Oh,
said-
they're Solarians. They're all the same.
The only mistake that I slightly made was when they said send the crew back to the ship. And I said, okay, well, who's probably the best person to do it? Kasumi, because she's a thief, so she's good at being sneaky. And when I saw the FAQs, they said use Morden. Nobody died.
Yeah.
But
No,
it
the
was interesting that they said
reason
that.
why they chose Morden is because it was about who
It was
was left.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And actually, I think whenever I was doing the final battle, I brought two awkwardly strange characters that I normally didn't bring with me. I think for something. I don't know. Anyway, what were you saying, Travis?
Oh, I was just saying like if you don't really care about the whole like your choices that you make actively in the game, for, molding things that happen in the future, which I mean sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, depends on what mood I'm in. Like you can still play the game and have it be very enjoyable with minimal spoilers if you just like, get to decision points. Look up what you need to pick and then pick that and then, let it roll out and you can still have I believe at least, you can still have a fulfilling story that way.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point now where I can just play them and I don't really care about the decisions I make because I know what happens either way. And I know how to make it happen either way. So sometimes, for example, another spoiler, I'll let Rex die. I love Rex, but sometimes I'll just let him die.
Probably
As much
because
fun
you're a
as it is in
racist.
Mass Effect, having your choices carry over, I will say though that it can also bite them in the ass. I feel like Dragon Age actually suffered because they kept trying to allow you to make choices, and it feels like they lost cohesion in the story.
Yep.
Stuff like where they had to retcon
We
Liara or not
know
Liara, Liliana.
Yep.
we
Well,
know the
Liliana, that was
complaints.
just a massive fuck up.
You can kill her, and then it's like, no, she appears in
We
Inquisition, and if you
Yeah,
kill her,
they
she's
should
like,
have
the
just made
Maker
a
brought me back to
whole
life.
yes, we know about the complaints. We've heard those so many times before. Let's not get onto that topic. But my point
It's, you
is
know what? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I guess where the contrast with BioWare can be drawn is with Inquisition, right? Inquisition didn't even get supported for a whole year, yet Blizzard is able to support Diablo 2 for 16.
And that's crazy because when I think of someone like Blizzard and Activision, not Activision, but Blizzard and BioWare kind of on the same tier.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as far as their quality of content, and they both been
Right, but
around for the same amount of time,
right,
They're-
and that's what I'm saying. Like when I say BioWare has fallen off since they got with EA
Yep.
because they're taking corners, they're taking shortcuts like Liliana. I won't get too deep into Liliana, but like Liliana, where
Well, it's
when you
not
see
just
Mass,
that.
well, I mean, like when you see Mass Effect, it was like, oh well, she's not there. We'll just have another character in her place.
Let's be honest. How often do you hear about Blizzard developers get in some manner or another leaving Blizzard?
Never. And it seems like everybody's leaving the Mass Effect Andromeda project.
Well, no, it's not just Mass Effect Andromeda. It's just Bioware in general because I'm thinking that they're starting to operate like all of the other big EA studios or Ubisoft studios where they start off with like maybe 6 people in the early stages of development, plump up to maybe 20 people during the initial phases of framework design, and then as the game gets closer to launch, they bulk up to like 100 freaking developers, 100 plus developers, and then right after the game's launch, they go right back down to like 12 developers just for post-launch support and lay off all the rest of those 88.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That's
It's so I it seems like that might be a problem in games development because it seems like it might be able to keep cohesion. It seems like a lot of games, you know, like there's a certain level of cohesion that they have, but a lot of really big games you can like tell with like certain things in the game, like it might not be incohesive, but it might just be like vague, right? Like it doesn't have as complete and defined of a picture as you would like to have, which you would possibly get with a smaller team working for a longer amount of time together.
That's one of the reasons why Bethesda has resisted the urge to grow its studio as much as it could. They were forced to open up a new studio not long ago just because they're overworked as shit. But they've resisted the urge to grow the talking about Bethesda Game Studios just to be specific here,
Right.
on the Fallout and the Elder Scrolls titles, because if they do bring in a new person, they bring in a new person or maybe a couple of new people, not 20, 30, 40 new developers who really do not have that heart and soul in the game, right? When you look at a lot of the people involved in Bethesda, they are you can ask them about a random book that was in Morrowind and they're like, Yeah, Todd wrote that right over there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Todd popped in my head because Tom Howard, but whatever. We'll leave that alone. Let's go ahead and get moving on to our second
But
story.
I mean, you're right though, and I think that's the awesome part about Bethesda is since they are so small, it is such a really tight knit, what you want to call it, tight knit community.
Right.
I guess we'll call it, and you see that in the quality of their work. You see these guys are probably happy where they're there, and I really thought they were even proud of what they did with Fallout 4 just because of it.
Yep.
Like how else would you make such a large game that tends to like lore wise and like just general content wise with their books and all that other stuff feel so cohesive as a world, right?
As
Like
Fallout, you mean?
yeah, lore as like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, right? They're very very large games, and yet they still feel pretty cohesive. What they are.
Totally.
Yep. But anyway, let's go ahead and get moving on to our next story. Next story, kind of continuing on our kind of downward spiral of bad news on as the chat has been pretty much all about, hoping that Andromeda doesn't end up like Inquisition. Yes, that is definitely a thing. So our next story there is with EverQuest Next. Now, many people may not remember EverQuest or EverQuest 2 that have been out for quite a while now. EverQuest Next was kind of a big deal for those fans, and that was kind of the something everybody was looking forward to. There's even people that invested into it. And unfortunately, Daybreak Entertainment announced this week that the project for EverQuest Next is officially canceled. And their justification for it, I actually appreciate their candor in it. They had a lot of technically impressive pieces that when they looked at each piece individually, it appeared to be, it broke a lot of milestones. It went very far with what they were able to achieve on a technical level. But when they put the pieces together, they realized the game was just not fun. And while, yes, developers tend to be their own harshest critics, and also on top of that, everybody's view is subjective. I have a feeling that if they were saying it wasn't fun, I'm pretty certain it was probably something that most people would not find fun, i.e., all the money they spent into it would probably end up with worse bad press than them just canceling it.
Right.
And obviously a lot of people immediately blame Sony for this, and I'm like, you do realize that they're not Sony Online Entertainment anymore. They've broken away from that for some time now.
But, I mean, still blame Sony. Go ahead, blame Sony.
Yeah, why not?
This is an issue I think with MMOs in general. Like this is a real issue. The getting through development and making a game that's not fun. I've seen it at least one other time that I can just think off the top of my head, and that's with what was it? Trying to think of the company. It's Kurt Schilling's, the one that did Reckoning.
Oh no,
Knights of Amalur.
Knights of Amalur. I'm not sure of the MMO they developed. I can name an MMO that had technically on paper what sounded like impressive things, but when you put it all together, it wasn't fun, and they released it anyway. It's called Rift.
Yeah.
Some people hate on that because they like Rift. I think Rift is a technically
Trash.
Average and bland MMO.
Call it what it is. Trash.
Yeah, it's trash. And unfortunately, it was one of those ones that came out in the everybody copying World of Warcraft phase.
Right.
At least Star Wars The Old Republic has kind of come into its own and become a very unique thing. Rift really hasn't done anything unique.
I feel like a lot of MMOs are still doing the World of Warcraft thing.
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, you get a few of them that are doing stuff that's unique. Like, even though I harp on Neverwinter for being pay to win, because it very much is, I still appreciate the fact that it is actually a pretty damn solid game, all things considered. It feels nice. The combat feels great. And because it doesn't require 50,000 freaking hotkeyed abilities like SOTOR or WoW does, you can actually play it with a controller or on a console. So it's more accessible to more people, which is always great. But unfortunately, it's pay to win because fuck you, we're Perfect World Entertainment and we want your money, and we're
It
greedy
isn't
sons of
because-
bitches.
Everything Perfect World touches basically
Yeah,
is tainted by this.
people talk about EA and fucking shit up. Before Perfect World bought out Cryptic Studios, Star Trek Online and Neverwinter were fucking amazing. And then
companies like Perfect World and Tencent are just like they're just bad. They're bad about that.
Yeah, and then essentially now you log into it, and I feel like I'm staring at a commercial for a gambling game. Some username XX935271 has just won this amazing item. It's like that comes up like every 5 seconds. I'm like, I don't fucking care. Let me play the goddamn game. It's like, anyway. So the thing about EverQuest Nest, because I think they themselves took a look at the MMO environment. They realized that the MMO space is shifting. We're getting away from the WoWs and the SOTORs, and now the market, despite me not personally liking these games, Destiny and The Division are the new MMOs. Those are the 2010s, or I should say the 2015s, the 2016s. That's the new MMO space.
You mean the MMO
Of course.
No,
Everyone's
I'm
also.
The MMOs where you go into the world and you can't just team up with a bunch of people randomly? There's like 8 people on the server?
I will say that somewhat, but I think the biggest thing is they've moved on from looking at MMOs as the ultimate like big cash, cash cow. Now they're on the trend of the MOBAs. That's what they're on now. Everyone's trying to make a damn MOBA.
Well,
Facts.
going back to what I was for with that one MMO, it was the company was 38 Studios. Their MMO that never got out of development was before they went bankrupt was Project Copernicus, called Project Copernicus.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
And I personally believe that specifically, like developing that game alongside the Kingdoms of Amalur is what put them into bankruptcy, because they were just like pumping so much money into this game. And one of the comments, and I'm not sure if it was from Kurt Schilling or if it was somebody else in the development, but one of the comments was, we have all this content in this game. We're so far through the development, and the game looks beautiful, but it's just not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've heard that comment for this MMO from another developer before. So like, and I've seen other MMOs that have had this issue where they're technically
impressive. Yeah,
impressive. They look beautiful, but they're not fun to play.
Yeah,
so
and that is something that is a very, in my opinion, that is a very real thing. Like when you're developing a game, let's be honest. Well, my major gripe with the current trend of MMOs, Division and Destiny, is they're just grind simulators, right? Mm-hmm. They're taking away story content. One of the things I appreciate as to all hell about SOTOR is BioWare decided, we've had enough, sitting in World of Warcraft Shadows. We're gonna take this and make it a more story-driven MMO. Because let's be honest, not
you
a lot
don't play
of
most MMOs for the story.
Yeah, especially WoW. Like, yes, there was some story content in WoW, but let's be honest. Every veteran WoW player I've talked to, they're like, "Yeah, there was a story."
Because
chirp.
I haven't even played
Dark Souls. You don't play Dark Souls for the story. You don't play MMOs for the story. I don't play Dark Souls for the story. I don't even understand
the hardcore Dark Souls fans are very much into the lore of that.
Yeah, Dark Souls requires you to go to a wiki for the story.
Oh, so does Destiny.
Not necessarily. You just look at the items and you read item descriptions.
Well, yeah, but it's easier to go to a wiki.
Yeah, but so does Destiny. Destiny said, "Hey, go to our website and read our grimoires."
Yeah, but it's not the same because Joe said,
Destiny. The reason why they had their grimoire bullshit was because we wanted to put this in the game, but let's be honest, we are too fucking lazy, and we knew that the casual audience that we're appealing to really isn't going to look into it, so we're just going to leave it on the website, and you fuckers can look it up yourself because they don't care. That's
The difference
why.
with Dark Souls, and more Dark Souls 1 than Dark Souls 2, because even though I enjoy Dark Souls 2 mechanically, it isn't as good at doing this as Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 1 does a good job of merging the story and the lore with gameplay. Like, it's not just having a character tell you an exposition. Like, characters don't sit and go, they're in a shit world that is literally falling apart. The gods of the world have either left and gotten the fuck out, or they've gone crazy. Their world is shit. The few people you meet who are sane are undead, and they're waiting to go insane. These people are not waiting around to tell you the history of their world. They're pretty preoccupied doing their own shit. And so that's what's great, is you go there and it's like you meet characters who will leave. Like, you'll go and meet this character and it's like, you help him out and he's like, alright, thanks man, you go back there, he's gone. You meet up with him later because he's actually doing his own thing. Because, he's not just sitting there to be an NPC exposition dump for you.
And that's the
So
thing.
you have a combination of that with, like, the world design itself. And, like, everything's just contributes to that, explaining kind of what's going on without really being in the open. Like, everything's underneath. Because it's not, like, the world's not there for you. That's the biggest thing. It's like, the world's not there just to give you a story. Like,
give me a story, goddammit!
There's a story there, but you have to dig into it because the world is there on its own, doing its own thing.
I think the problem is like the idea of Destiny, and if you like go back and look at all the advertisements, the game was ripe for a storyline. Like, absolutely, like they could have hit it out of the park easily.
Yeah.
Like
this is the thing.
It wouldn't have even been a hard game to write for. It was easy. Their idea was good. It was solid.
Here's the thing: is that story aside, for all we know, bringing it back to the topic on here, EverQuest Next could have actually had a great story written. I mean, they've been doing it for long enough. They might not have. I'm not entirely certain. I think I have a good idea what happened on there. So, and this is something that Digital Extremes could take a very good lesson from, because essentially what you have had probably happen is that you had, like, say, different department heads or what have you that were looking at certain parts and they were heading certain projects, like, in the Warframe translation, oh, we're doing Arcwing. This is the team dedicated to the Arcwing project, and here's this guy, these team is, dedicated to this project. And they get so excited about the technical achievements of that project, like, we're making a space combat simulator, blah blah blah, look how fast and beautiful this looks like, look at the particle effects, look at the animations of the characters. They get into the technical nitty gritty of it, right?
You described Mr. Citizen.
Yeah, no, that's another good that I was getting there. I have to work up to dissing on Cloud Imperium. There's got to be a build to it, but they get into the nitty gritty of these technical achievements and the bragging of it, and they've got this built up in their head, and then they zoom out to the big picture of the whole thing as whole, and then you end up with Star Citizen. You see, you ruined the punchline of my joke, Kev. Thank you. But yeah, so that's the gist of it, is that when you kind of zoom out and look at the whole project, they just realize, yeah, the destructible environments look great. They look natural. We have great particle effects in there. The character animations look natural. They look fluid. The voice acting is spot on, if they even got to voice acting. I don't know. The story points are great. I really feel emotionally attached to them. And then they start playing the game, like doing some like early alpha testing, and they're like, this game fucking sucks. They have to, when you do your initial alpha build of a complete game, you have to be brutally fucking honest with yourself. You can't be like, well, this isn't that fun, but you know what, we can just patch that out. No, if you do that, you're gonna end up with a mortal failure, like Rift and what Star Citizen will
Just
likely
like
end
if
up
you
being.
get the alpha and you try to change the entire game up, you can easily end up with a failure.
Or if you're halfway through the development of the game and decide to entirely rewrite the story, Mass Effect 3.
Destiny.
But yeah.
Rewrite the story. Don't you?
Oh
mean
yeah,
just
you
toss
have
it
to
the
have a
trash?
story to rewrite it.
Destiny didn't even have a fucking story to rewrite.
I guess they were supposed to, and then they scrapped it and started over.
They at least had a groundwork from it. Just looking at the advertisement.
I heard that the year delay was because of the story, but apparently they needed more time.
But they can't do that because they've got a deadline from fuck you. We're Bungie, apparently the new Activision and the new EA.
Well, we don't have time to tell you why we don't have.
Oh no,
time.
I'm sorry. That was Activision. That was Activision.
that was.
Never mind.
They
Never mind.
They published it.
Yep.
We don't have time to tell you why we don't have time.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's fun. And I mean, we can just go ahead and tie in the Joe needs a Slim Jim. Joe, you need some coffee. Something, man.
Why?
Apparently you look tired. Anyway, so
No, I get distracted while reading something.
he's on a fucking Dark Souls 2 for him. That's what he's doing, guys. You heard it here
Or
first.
we read it.
Fucking
Reddit.
No, I was reading.
Yeah, Reddit.
On something.
It's the Dark Souls 2 Reddit. That's what it is.
Oh, if I get started
put it all
Reddit,
together.
I won't be able to pay attention at all. I stay away from Reddit during podcasts usually.
Okay, so let's go ahead and roll the bad news into more bad news this week. This has not been a really pleasant week for the video game industry, to say the least. So the last story we have on there is that Lionhead Studios, the great minds behind the Fable series and Black and White, and who was previously infamously headed by the man who dreamed bigger than was ever possible by any development studio, Peter Molyneux himself.
Praise Peter.
God, no, fuck
really.
Peter Molyneux. But
No, you want like Peter Molyneux needs to have like a career in talking up like TV infomercials. Like he just needs.
No, Peter Molyneux needs to be like the motivational speaker. Seriously, he can sell you to any college. I'm saying he can sell water to a whale, man.
in any case, though, unfortunately, the consequence of Peter Molyneux and who he is apparent as Microsoft closed Lionhead Studios this week. Well, they're closing them. UK law requires that there's a 30-day period of which it stays open after it's been officially closed. But so yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the issues with Lionhead Studios has been a culmination of Peter Molyneux over-promising and under-delivering. That's been going on for the past 14 years with Fable 1. It's going to have a dynamic sun-tanning system. If you spend all your time out in the day, you're going to end up tanner. And if you use your sword a lot, you'll get muscular. And then we get fucking Fable 1 and we're like, this is not at all what you fucking said it was. So
It's sad.
great, though.
So
Good.
it was a good game, but that was still and it only had a third of the game cut out of it, when it was launched.
Hey, that's better than these days where we have sold as a DLC.
No, it was. Let's be honest. It was the Destiny of the early 2000s. But that was the start of the kind of downfall of them. Is the man who is so excited and so passionate about his games that he unfortunately wanted he was like a giddy gamer on Christmas morning when he was the ideas that he had for these games. But that wasn't the worrisome part. Was the next thing that you ran into was Microsoft being EA. Pretending to be EA. Hey guys, so you should go. We're really trying to push this Kinect thing, so you need to make a Fable Kinect game. If you could go ahead and do it, that'd be great. Okay. That also was a very bad choice for Lionhead Studios, although they doubt they really had a choice at that point, because obviously Fable Legends flopped horribly. Obviously, since Lionhead's closing, the new Fable game that was supposed to be coming out, that was kind of a 4v1 asymmetric MOBA, is also going to be canceled as well, which is kind of unfortunate because it looked interesting. But
somebody thought so.
No, it looked interesting.
I didn't think so.
But I didn't know how good it would actually be. Being interesting doesn't necessarily mean it's good. But in any case, though, let's go ahead and talk a bit about what legacy does Lionhead leave behind us. Like, kind of, what traits do you see from, like, say, early Lionhead games before they decided to go Connect Fucktastic?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys probably guess. For people who didn't like, who bought Fable: The Lost Chapters, whenever the full game, didn't either like didn't listen, didn't go into media at the time, or just didn't look into it, or bought it after it happened, like didn't have anything with Molyneux, didn't have any expectations from him, and you just bought the game and played it. It's a really, really good game in my opinion. I find it, the art style, the ambience, just the quirkiness of it. It's a fun game, and it's one of my favorite games from whenever I was younger, personally speaking. And I feel that if
that
they
was
would
only
have,
2 years ago, by the way,
well,
because Travis was born in the year 2000, so he only started playing video games, a couple years ago.
Facts.
And so I feel like and Molyneux, I think, had a lot of, like, he was had a lot to do with the problems that came out of like Fable 2 and Fable 3, which I think Fable 3 was a decent game. It kind of, like, it had its merits. Like, it was visually fun, and it kind of had, harken back to a little bit more of the Fable 1 life to it. But there were a lot of issues with it that kind of brought it down. I think that they just, like, they didn't past, they put out Fable: The Lost Chapters, and they just didn't understand what made the game, like what made fans like the game. They kept trying to do, new and exciting things, and forgetting the fundamentals of, like, why the previous Fable game was fun, like why people liked it. And it wasn't because of choices. It was because of, ambience, art style, and you just simple, fun hack and slash nonsense. And that's just my opinion on it. And I didn't play Black and White, so I don't know about that. I know it's pretty popular and people remember it fondly. But yeah, pretty much Fable: The Lost Chapters and Black and White are pretty much the only games I think they'll be remembered for. I don't think they'll be remembered for anything else. And personally speaking, I'm surprised they didn't shut down sooner.
Yeah, they've been since. I mean, like, yes, some people were a fan of Fable 2, but I'll be straight and honest. I played Fable 3 and then Fable 2, and the Lost Chapters honestly was that to me was the pinnacle Fable experience. Because definitely. It was the actual game as it was meant to be. Whereas Fable, the original release of Fable, had, like, literally, I would say it's like more like half the freaking game chopped out of it. There's
right.
Like whole continent, all this content chopped out.
Yeah.
So
Make Fable great again.
Yeah.
Make Fable great again.
Oh God,
It's a really sad story, because if they would have just, like, listened to the people, listened to the fans of, like, they got plenty of ideas, right? Because in Fable: The Lost Chapters, they set themselves up for at least one great and fun later game, right? Like, they had a lot of lore that they could have used, and that was the heroes of Albion, right? Like the pre-Fable: The Lost Chapters era.
You have all this story and all this history, but no, we're going to jump like 200, 300 years ahead in the future.
Right, they kept trying to jump forward instead of, like, going back.
Let's be honest, that's Peter fuck you all, Molyneux. That entirely. I guarantee it. He's like, so what if we go 300 years in the future and the heroes have guns and magic?
Fuck it. He just comes in, fuck it, guys. Here comes Fable 4. It's set in, the year 2620. It's a sci-fi game now.
That would be
There'll
right.
be the whole galaxy for you to explore. You'll be able to set up intergalactic empires.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying
Dinosaurs.
are you saying that Peter changed his name to Chris and is working for a company called Cloud Imperium Games? Yes. Kev didn't manage to spoil that joke. Anyway, so yeah, but like Fable 2 just seemed to.
Folks, Star Citizen is Fable 4 in disguise.
Fable 4 confirmed. Hold on, let's real quick on here. Yeah, let's just put. There we go. The
guy who's in charge of the development, he was actually the protege of Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, apparently, but
he was like his half brother.
So, yes, he's actually secretly Peter Molyneux. He just changed his name and got facial reconstructive surgery. I know about this because John Travolta and Nick Cage told me about it personally. How you can just like take your face off and just put on someone else's face. Anyway, so but yeah, Fable 2 took a step down from the original Fable. Did not have a lot of that magic that I liked. Fable 3, there was stuff that I did enjoy. We're talking about it because that is part of their fucking legacy. Let's be honest. Now, there was some stuff in Fable 3 that I enjoyed. Like let's be honest, going to that one rich muckety muck's mansion and he's like this S&M fucking creepy perverted dude. It was great. That kind of like they had some gems in there, but overall the game was horrible. And let's be honest,
I enjoyed Fable 3.
You were really.
But it's the only Fable I've ever seen. But I enjoyed it. I got it for free Xbox Live Games with Gold. Glad I got it for free.
So you got it for free. You got it for free. Okay.
Well, got it for free. I mean, Games with Gold really free.
I got it free too, and I enjoyed it. So maybe you just have to get the game for free to enjoy it.
The worst part was the whole moral conundrum, which was their entire gimmick was like, it turns out you gotta be evil to actually save everyone.
Oh fuck no. No. That wasn't the problem in the game.
Good. And then just glitch the system and make all the money you need.
Yeah, no, that's what my thing is. That it more or less what the moral of Fable 3 was. Doesn't matter how good or evil you are, money trumps everything.
Money trumps everything.
And I say that as in money trumps everything.
I want to feel the burn.
Hashtag orange is the new black. Hashtag what was it? Orange Lives Matter. Hashtag Orange Lives Matter. You guys heard
Luigi's life matters.
You see, Peter Molyneux.
No, it's hashtag Oompa Loompas Lives Matter.
Peter Molyneux was just thinking so far ahead that he's like, yeah, like you're gonna have all these choices, but they're not gonna matter because money, and money makes the world go round. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's basically what he designed the game around.
Actually happened. I don't think that. I think it just that's just like a coincidence of bad game design. But yeah.
Okay. Let's just put it this way, that guys, I figured out the mystery. Peter Molyneux went and gained a bunch of weight, fake baked for about 3 months, and then got a toupee. We know where this is going.
The thing that I found fun in Fable 3 was like the weapons and like upgrading the weapons and grinding those out. I had a lot of fun doing that.
The names of the weapons were also great, and the descriptions on them.
Yeah,
like they had a lot of their cheeky humor still in that.
So easy though too.
Yeah,
but wait, let's also briefly discuss the bubbles. Did anybody ever turn on any of the multiplayer features of that game?
No.
The bubbles.
The bubbles.
So if you turn on the multiplayer in Fable 3, you would Like essentially you would be running around the game and you would see like these little floating bubbles
Oh yeah, I remember
that had the icon of the person's like gamer tag as they were like moving around. So they just like these disembodied bubbles floating and moving around. And if you got close to them, you would hear random people like talking. Like there was actually integrated chat in there that was always fucking live.
It was so good.
And it was like,
man.
no, I heard some most disturbing fucking shit. I heard some dude trying to sex up some chick, like the desperate nerd type stereotype that we've heard so much about that we've never seen.
Man.
Like,
So they're probably,
so-
probably doing that just
so
because they
much.
were like, maybe someone will overhear it and they'll get weirded
no.
out.
He was totally trying to lay it on thick. You could tell it was that stink of desperation was just.
Yeah, he did it. And
You left the
didn't have
game
no-
running while doing that?
I was playing the fucking game and I was like, "What is this?
Yeah,
Let me
but
turn these on."
This
And
guy was playing it.
Yes.
And he happened to...
Yes. I don't think
You
he
know,
he
the
was
guys
just
that
like
try to sleep with the chicks in game. Those guys.
yes.
It's like
exactly.
at least
Oh
shut up
heck,
the game before you go.
let's be honest. The
Well,
best part,
I think the girl was in game.
yeah, no, it was actually a girl who was also playing the game.
Oh,
That
Yeah, those versions.
yeah. So here's the fun part though. Night, Sean. So the fun part of this, of course, as we're only on our third story and haven't even got to our evergreen yet, and it's already that time. Anyway,
well,
so
it's just an extra thing anyway.
huh? Yeah, it's an extra thing, but it is something that like is kind of prevalent. So I guess we'll spend 30 seconds on it. But yeah, so I guess there's a lot of entertaining memories to be had in that game, and I guess it's unfortunate. I mean, obviously the developers aren't dead. They'll move on and work elsewhere, and hopefully Peter Molyneux does not go and work elsewhere because please stop, as
I think he's actually. I
Maybe
think
you
he's
just
working.
let him
Didn't he
do
move on to like
motivational speeches.
Yeah, didn't he move on to like advertisements or something?
that would
Who
probably
knows?
work well for him because then he doesn't
Yeah.
have a hand in the design process. But anyway, let's so let's go ahead and real quick, we'll spend probably 5 minutes on our evergreen topic here. So there was an interesting article that was written this week that actually had an interesting premise on the new release of The Division, but it's not a new
Oh.
one.
No, you guys. I was just gonna say about the what's it called, Lionhead Studios. They were also behind Dungeon Keeper, the original,
Yes, they
and
were.
Populous.
Right. That's
Yes,
right.
yes, they were.
Dungeon
And
Keeper was
Populous,
great.
yeah.
They got butchered in the sequel by Microsoft
Yeah.
because fuck you.
Way to go, Microsoft.
They were known. Oh, they were known for the original Syndicate too.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Bullfrog. It was when they were Bullfrog. When Peter Molyneux was with Bullfrog.
So basically, Peter
Oh.
Molyneux destroys games.
He back in the day he made good games.
Mhm.
It's just late,
What
like
day?
the last decade or two, he's gone.
Back in the day when like technicals, like on the technical side, like they couldn't even attempt to try and fulfill some of his crazy ideas. Like it's
Pretty
just, things were just up to stuff.
Yeah, he wants to go to the moon.
Okay, so Lionhead wasn't actually responsible for Dungeon Keeper. That was Bullfrog, but Peter Molyneux, left Bullfrog right after doing all that stuff, and that's when he went
Right.
to found Lionhead.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Lionhead like took a lot of the developers from Bullfrog 2, didn't they?
They left some.
As Zyphon said,
I'm not saying he's now, but
he's fucking off his rockers. What he is. So anyway, so with the launch of the Division, there's an article written that actually got a lot of mixed reactions to it. That was talking about grind heavy games and kind of like how they overall damage, they're bad for gaming in the long run. And the premise of that was that all of these games are vying for your attention for increasingly long amount of time. I mean, like, let's look at it. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, 13 fucking hundred hours, and I did not even have my manifest maxed out in that game. I think like 800 or 900 hours into Dragon Age Inquisition, 1,200 hours into fucking Warframe. This is an insane amount of time to be spending on one game. A person might say it's a good value proposition, but unfortunately that's bled back to developers and to the time spent in game equals value, right? And that's not really how that works. And I just wanted to go around and get everybody's thoughts on that. Do you guys agree with that premise, or do you disagree? Do you think that having a longer game that you can continue to play is better? And we'll start with Travis on this one, since
I see how it is.
yeah, because Kev was the first one to speak up.
I was about to hop right in there.
Let's see. This is difficult to say. I don't think it's a good thing to like have the industry move towards, because it makes it difficult to have, you know, variety in your gaming life. You see it in games like Dota, where you know people that they play Dota and they play Hearthstone in between their Dota matches, and that's basically it. So that's a problem. What I want to chime in on is the and I was gonna chime in on it whenever we were talking about the EverQuest thing. Is it seems like games are increasingly becoming more like simple in certain ways, or and not simple like complexity speaking, but simple in terms of like how they appeal to people. Like games are really starting to focus on certain human traits and taking advantage of them to generate revenue.
Yep.
You see it with like Skinner box things, right? And that's really starting to. And I don't know if it's like if it's always, you know, companies are always how do I say like aware that they're doing it, but it is happening. And
they're well fucking aware of what they're doing.
Like,
they have people
yeah,
researching that shit.
Right. I don't think that's good, because eventually, yeah, that might be good for like, you know, a mobile gaming crowd, or, you know, people who are just not invested into gaming in general. Well, not as invested into gaming in general. But for somebody like me, like it's fun for a time, but like eventually I want something more in depth. I want something more creative than just a Skinner box.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think you and I are going in the same direction, where what I'm thinking of and where I was going to hop in here.
All right, Joe, go ahead. No,
damn it. Is you have both extremes. You have games, say like Battlefield Hardline or Star Wars Battlefront, where there clearly needs to be more content in the game. The game, I think the core of the game, and like we've talked about this with Battlefront, I think the core of Battlefront was good. It just needs more going on. And then you have the complete opposite, like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, where like I said, we all put in 1,000 hours or really close to, and we couldn't get everything. Where is that happy medium? And as much as people don't like when I say it, I love Call of Duty for this example.
Yep.
It doesn't take too long to get to to the rank 50, which is your top rank on prestige. And if you want to prestige and do it again, go for it. You can go through the challenges. You can do it 10 times, or you can just unlock everything in one go if that's what you want to do, and not prestige. You know, that's a good value proposition to me.
See, the term you're looking for there is low barrier to entry, high skill ceiling.
Right.
You know. So Joe, your thoughts?
I feel like, artificially inflating the length of games through this method is not a great way to go. I feel like it just burns people out.
Yes.
Like over time, it just...
Yeah. Battlefield is another great example of this too. Battlefield 4 has so many damn weapons.
And, like, you know what? You were saying Call of Duty. I'll bring up something I have a problem with Call of Duty. Some of the Call of Duty games didn't do this. They did different systems that worked better, but I hated the system where it was like unlock a weapon, and it's like, you know what? I want to use this sight on it. It's like this purely preferential thing. Like, none of the sights are objectively better than the other ones. You know, holographic, like
and he just
3 different red dot sights.
Oh, it's back now.
It's like, you want this holographic sight? You need to get like 300 kills with the weapon. It's like, or you have to get 250 kills while using this thing. It's like, why?
Oh, you have to do that in
It's
Call of
just,
Duty?
like,
In the older ones?
yeah, in the old ones you had to do stuff like
Like
that.
300 kills? Yeah, because in the new ones, it's like, get like 20 kills.
It's
Yeah.
not
It
like
was
200 or
really-
300, but it's still like 40 or 50.
Yeah, for the
Which still
camos,
ends
it
up
was really
taking time.
high.
Yeah,
For
some of the
camo-
camos were really high, which I don't think that's bad. Those, I
No,
don't think
those
are
aren't a problem. It's
challenges.
the attachments.
Yeah,
It's
the attachments
There
and
were-
sights.
I
think
liked
that's an
how
issue.
the original Black Ops, I think, did it really well, where it was you would go and you would level up and you do your stuff, and you'd be given tokens, which you could just spend on unlocking whatever you wanted.
Black Ops,
Black Ops 3 does that too.
No,
Okay, season-
Black Ops has done that the whole way through.
See, then
Yeah.
good. Yeah, Black Ops does it correctly. It's the other ones that are just
And then
like-
I think Ghost also had a token unlock system too, I believe.
the token
Yeah.
system's much
Yes.
better. It allows you to control.
Those, yeah, but those tokens were too hard.
How
to
the
get.
fuck do I know this? I feel like I've only played one Call of Duty game, but apparently I've played them fucking all.
Well, from what I understand, like I never played Modern Warfare, but apparently, if you Ghosts is a lot like Modern Warfare, just a lot campier.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, and I'm going to try to abbreviate my rant on this, and instead add as a supposition the link to the blog post I made some time ago that was on this. So with when you are making a game that is primarily content-wise about grinding, the first thing I will say is you're a fucking lazy developer.
Yes.
That's the first thing I will say. Now, not everybody has the resources to make some crazy ass, like Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is kind of the antithesis of grinding because there is every piece of your step of your way, you feel like there is a story driving your actions. Warframe and is much on the grind side of it, where they're getting away from it, but for the longest time, there was literally no motivation, no story. It was hey, here's some guns, here's some cool powers, go kill shit. No other premise to that. And they were like, oh, we give you pieces of lore, little tidbits that don't tell you a fucking thing. It's like, no, you guys are just fucking lazy. Hire a goddamn writer. Like, for real. Now, with that said, it is the job of one of the things that a developer wants to achieve is they want people to, especially when you create a massive game, you want to... by the way, any rumors about Battlefield 5 are irrelevant and have nothing to do with this, by the way. That's not related to this at all. But in any case, so the thing is that when you are actually looking at making a game where you don't have the resources to make a Witcher 3, and you want people to be playing the game for an extended period of time because that's the way you want your game to work, especially if it's free to play and you have microtransactions, in order to recoup your losses, you need to kind of encourage people to spend the money somehow. Some people have better ways of doing it than others, but whatever. The point is, though, there is that balance. As Kev and I believe Joe said, you have to kind of find that balance of not too much grind. You don't want to dangle the carrot too far in front of the poor victim. You want to keep it close enough to where it feels like it's within reach. I'll be honest, I have not found too many grindy games that have done a good job at this. Warframe, there's way too much damn grinding for a lot of stuff. I see glimmers of hope occasionally, and then they kind of go and throw that out the window to do something opposite of that. Division, from what I can tell, same fucking thing all over again. So it's like, yeah.
It is the Ubisoft formula.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why, when we talked about this before, I said the Division in particular is perfect for a studio like Ubisoft. Go here for content. Mm-hmm. Now, what's cool about at least the Division is, you get into gunfights usually on your way to the content. Every other corner you go around, usually somebody attacks you.
Yeah.
But you're attacking the same kind of dudes over and over again, which is going to get bored after a little while.
Yep. But let's go ahead and go around and give our final thoughts on here, since we're running a bit over, but we got our thoughts on that one here. So Kev, go ahead and just roll in, give your final thoughts, your shilling, all that stuff.
My final thoughts, my final shilling. Glad they're updating Warcraft 3. Hopefully my voice is back a little bit more. It's been crackly all show. Like I said, my son came home with strep about a week ago. It spread it across the house. Other than that, check out my channel, Kev the Gamer. This week's content will probably be a little bit slow. Just because I'm starting the new job and because I'm still trying to get my voice back. So yeah, that's all I really got for right now.
Joe,
If
don't
you like-
even mention Battlefield 5.
I wasn't going to.
Battlefield 5 Master Race.
I don't care that much about it. No, I was going to say, if you like John Woo style action at all, or just like over the top silliness, just go play
Just
Super
cause.
Hot. It looks pretty great.
Just cause.
Go play Super Hot.
No, I'm
It's
saying you need to
in-game.
play Super Hot just cause.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, Just Cause, the Michael Bay movie.
You're not getting the joke. Never mind. Oh, Yahtzee.
I know.
Fucking Yahtzee.
I didn't watch
I
that
remember
clip.
it's
You sent it
Yes,
to it, but I didn't watch
Super Hot looks like a great game. And Joe is going to have more information on it next week. So tune in next week for that.
We'll talk
That's
about it
his
next
shilling.
Yeah, Joe, buy it on Steam so I can leech it off you.
If I buy it, it'll be GOG.
You bet.
So he accuses Joe of being a pirate, but he's a leech. Travis, final thoughts.
I really wanted to rag on the Division a little bit, and we
It's
don't have
your
enough time
chance.
to do so.
We've
It's
been
your chance.
we've been doing it for the past 2 months now, but feel free, take yourself a
Okay.
minute here and rank on the
See,
Division.
I just wanted to rage about how Kev was like, you just go around and fight the same guys again and again and again, and
3 different kinds of guys, basically.
It's fucking lazy.
That's
Yeah, it's fucking
that-
lazy.
that is a problem. That is like the at a base level, people are gonna get really, really bored with that, and like it's a problem in Destiny, and that's one of the biggest just outside of the general design of the game. That's a big flag that they're just like, oh, let's just copy Destiny with this really, really good concept that we put forward. We had a lot of fans for, and then we just completely changed and copied Destiny.
Let's be real. They had people hyped over a dude closing a door. I got
Honestly,
an
that's what the
achievement for
Division
closing a
is.
door.
It's
The
basically
Division-
just Ubisoft going, we need Destiny.
Yeah, that's exactly what it fucking is.
It's not a bad game.
So guys, predictions.
not-
Let's real quick. Give me your predictions on EA's answer.
To what?
Division / Destiny.
Yeah, Division/Destiny. What franchise are they going to tank to
My
be?
God.
Go for
I
it.
just thought about it.
Go for
What
it.
about Mass Effect Andromeda?
Oh no, don't do it.
Don't
Don't fucking
Mass
say
Effect
it.
series into it.
And
Andromeda fits the bill perfectly.
That's why everyone's
you're
screaming.
right. You're right. God damn it. I'm fucking really worried now.
Joe, you're
That's
off the island. You've been floated off the
you know
island,
what?
Joe.
You know what? There's gonna be one of two things here, and
After what happened with Mass Effect 3,
Screen,
and all the nerd
screen
rage
cap
that came with
this.
the ending.
yeah, no, this is
It's
gonna
like-
be on
it's fucking the
YouTube.
next
So if
game
you
will be
guys
here for 5
come
years.
back, if someone comes back and watches this in like a year from now, Mass Effect Andromeda's out, and they're like, "Holy shit, they knew," or they're gonna be
Inquisition
like,
was practice for it. Inquisition's gameplay is basically an MMO in single player form. That was them preparing.
All I ask
damn,
is cut us a
tinfoil
chat.
hat.
If we're right, just cut us a chat.
The signs have been there the whole
Yeah,
time.
I would like to say that Kev and I's channel are going to need donations for the amount of shit we're going to throw at fucking BioWare if they make a goddamn Division clone or a Division/Destiny clone that's Mass Effect flavored.
See,
And
that's why
fucking hell, it
everybody's
makes
leaving
so
BioWare.
much damn
So they
sense.
see it coming.
It's
Oh,
too much
man.
sense. It's too perfect. It fits too well
Stop
right
giving
into
EA
it.
ideas. No, EA, be like Witcher. Be like Witcher. Witcher is good.
Yes, please be like Witcher.
Be like
Don't
Fallout.
don't
Yeah,
follow
we
the.
don't want to. We
Don't
don't
be like Fallout.
We don't want to meme this into existence, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be like Witcher.
In any case, though, so I'll give my final thoughts on here. I had some final thoughts that I have been completely derailed by utter horror of the thought of Mass
Don't give us
Effect,
nightmares.
Mass Effect, for the Division simulator. Line
Don't-
Simulator
don't say that, man. You're
2017.
gonna give me nightmares.
Yeah.
I have to get up early tomorrow.
Yeah. So apparently, Kev, though, in the real world though, Kev has a twin on Twitch.
Yeah, I didn't know you had a twin, Kev.
Yeah, apparently you have a twin. I love gaming 1444. Kev is your long lost twin. So, in any case, though, obviously, as with every week, you guys kind of know the drill on here. We're here live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time now, except if you're in Arizona, in which case.
Oops.
Fuck you for being the only area in the world that is not subscribed to antiquated practices like daylight savings time.
Not the only place. I know for a fact.
No, there's other places.
Canada doesn't.
Yep.
Or not. When I say Canada, I mean the person.
Yeah, but
they don't know who he is. So
fun
I'm saying
fact though, there are multiple Indian reservations in Arizona that do practice daylight savings time. So you can drive through Arizona and have it change daylight savings time like three times.
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
But in any case, though, obviously here every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, at least for the next 6 months until it goes back to standard time. If you guys want to see, if you guys want to see it video on demand with some gameplay footage, you can go ahead and check it out over there at Kev's channel, which you can find a link right down there in the chat or down in the description. There'll also be some random other live stream footage on my channel where I get bored and play Warframe because I'm apparently masochistic and just love beating my head into the grind wall.
Should have played.
I just enjoy the gameplay.
Fucking Mass Effect. God damn you, Joe.
Damn it, Joe. You're off the island.
Fucking hell. In any case, though, we're going to go ahead and sign off here this week. And we'll go ahead and catch you guys all next week on the Pixel Crashers.